Red and blue lights carved through the midnight fog like surgical blades. The cruiser's headlights pinned Marcus Webb's sedan against the darkness, turning the empty street into an interrogation room without walls. Officer Derek Kane stepped out slowly, deliberately. His hand rested on his holster, though Marcus's hands were already visible on the steering wheel. The rookie was 23, 3 months out of academy, hungry for arrests that mattered. Marcus watched him approach in the side mirror. Breath steady, heartbeat controlled. 12 years of military discipline didn't evaporate because some cop had a quota. License and registration. Derek's flashlight hit Marcus's face like an accusation. Step out of the vehicle. Marcus complied. Movements measured, non-threatening, textbook. His military training screamed warnings his civilian life couldn't afford to voice. Derek circled him, eyes scanning for justification. The car was clean. Marcus's record was spotless, but the rookie had already decided how this would end. I smell marijuana. Derek's voice carried performative authority. I'm conducting a search. Marcus's jaw tightened. I don't consent to... Your consent isn't required. Derek moved to the passenger side, hands working quickly. He palmed the small baggie from his pocket. Standard plant, done it twice before. His partner Jake looked away from the cruiser. Marcus saw the motion, recognized it instantly. The rookie's fingers slipping something into his jacket pocket, draped over the passenger seat. Then Marcus reached for his wallet to show his VA employment ID. The wallet flipped. His military ID card tumbled out, catching streetlight. Derek froze mid-reach. His eyes locked on the card. Silver Star recipient. Marcus Webb, Sergeant First Class, retired. Combat veteran. Behind them, a private security camera on the corner building blinked its steady red recording light. 8 hours earlier, Marcus Webb had been a different version of the same man. His office at the VA center smelled like old coffee and newer hope. Photographs lined his desk. His daughter Naomi at her 8th grade graduation, his platoon in Afghanistan, his mother at her nursing school ceremony. He specialized in helping combat veterans navigate civilian chaos. PTSD, addiction, unemployment, the invisible wars that killed more soldiers than bullets. Marcus understood because he'd fought those battles himself. Came home in 2013 with a Silver Star and nightmares that made sleep feel like enemy territory. But he'd rebuilt, went to school, earned his counseling degree, dedicated himself to the brothers and sisters still drowning. His calendar was full. His reputation was solid. 34 years old and finally stable. Across town, Derek Kane was running late for his 3rd shift patrol. He'd graduated academy with mediocre scores and excellent connections. His uncle was deputy chief in internal affairs. Derek needed stats, arrests, commendations, proof he deserved the badge beyond his last name. His training officer Jake had warned him once. "You're chasing glory in a job that requires patience." Derek ignored him. Patience didn't build careers. Big busts did. He'd made 2 marijuana possession arrests last month. Both suspects black, both cars expensive, both randomly searched. Internal affairs cleared him both times. His uncle made sure of it. Tonight felt lucky. Derek drove through the East Side neighborhood, eyes scanning for opportunity. When Marcus's Lexus rolled through a stop sign, barely just a California roll, Derek saw his opening. He lit him up. Marcus pulled over immediately, practiced and careful. Their worlds collided under streetlights and fog. Marcus represented everything the system claimed to honor. Derek represented everything the system actually protected. One of them would leave this street in handcuffs. The only question was which rules would apply. Marcus kept his hands on the wheel as Derek approached. The flashlight beam felt like judgment searching for confirmation. "Evening, officer." Marcus's voice was calm, neutral. "Was I speeding?" Derek didn't answer. He studied Marcus's face, his car, the neighborhood. Expensive vehicle, black driver, late night. The math was simple in Derek's mind. License and registration now. Marcus reached slowly for his glove compartment, telegraphing every movement. He'd been trained for combat zones where sudden moves meant death. American streets required similar survival protocols. Derek examined the documents, hoping for warrants, priors, anything. The record was clean. Too clean. That meant nothing to him. Step out of the vehicle. Derek's tone shifted to command mode. Hands where I can see them. Marcus complied, unfolding himself from the driver's seat with deliberate care. 6'2", athletic build, wearing a VA staff polo shirt. He looked like someone's counselor, someone's father, someone's friend. Derek saw something else: threat, challenge, opportunity. I smell marijuana. The lie came easily now. Derek had used it before. It was magic language, impossible to disprove, sufficient for search. Turn around. Hands on the vehicle. Officer, I don't use... Did I ask you a question? Derek stepped closer, invading space. Turn around. Marcus obeyed. His breath came steady, but his mind calculated odds. Isolated street. No witnesses. Rookie cop with something to prove. The situation had a gravitational pull toward disaster. Derek patted him down professionally, finding nothing. That didn't matter. He'd already decided the outcome. He moved to the car, making a show of searching the driver's side. Jake watched from the cruiser, stomach tight. He'd seen Derek do this before, knew where it was heading. But speaking up meant choosing sides, and Jake had a family, a mortgage, a pension to protect. Derek reached the passenger seat. Marcus's jacket lay draped over the leather. The rookie's hand moved to his pocket, then to the jacket in one fluid motion. 3 seconds. The baggie nestled into the inner pocket, invisible to anyone not looking for it. Well, well, Derek's voice carried false triumph. What do we have here? He pulled the jacket out, began searching the pockets theatrically. His fingers found the planted evidence right where he'd left it. Marcus's stomach dropped. He recognized the play instantly. That's not mine. I've never... Save it. Derek held up the baggie like a trophy. You're under arrest for possession of a controlled substance. Marcus reached for his wallet, desperate to show his VA ID, his credentials, something that might inject sanity into madness. The wallet flipped in his hands. His military ID card tumbled out, landing face up on the asphalt. Derek bent to pick it up. His flashlight caught the text. His face changed. Silver Star. Afghanistan. Sergeant First Class. For 3 seconds, Derek's confidence faltered. Then his training, the bad kind, reasserted itself. Cops protected cops. His uncle would handle complications. He'd planted evidence on a veteran, but so what? The system would still side with the badge. Marcus saw the calculation in Derek's eyes. Saw him choose wrong. Doesn't matter what you were. Derek's voice hardened to cover his uncertainty. Hands behind your back. The handcuffs clicked shut. Behind them, unnoticed by both men, the security camera's red light blinked steadily. Recording. Preserving. Waiting. Marcus stood in handcuffs, the metal biting into his wrists. The physical restraint was nothing compared to the rage building in his chest, like a thunderstorm looking for ground. He'd survived IEDs, firefights, brothers bleeding out in his arms. Came home and survived the invisible wars, PTSD that made sleep a battleground, a VA system that treated veterans like case numbers, a civilian world that thanked him for his service, then crossed the street when he walked past. Built himself back. Degree by degree, session by session. Became the counselor he'd needed when he came home broken. Helped dozens of vets find solid ground. And now this child with a badge treated him like contraband. The fury wanted voice. Wanted to explode into words that would strip this rookie down to his insecurities. Marcus knew 1,000 ways to hurt someone without leaving marks. Combat taught efficiency, but his daughter's face stopped him. Naomi, 13 years old, brilliant and trusting. She believed her father was a hero. Believed the world made sense if you played by the rules. One wrong move tonight proved her wrong forever. One outburst became resisting arrest. One justified anger became lifetime consequences. So Marcus breathed. 4 count in, hold, 6 count out. The same rhythm that kept him alive during firefights. His heartbeat slowed. His voice stayed silent. He thought of his clients at the VA, vets barely holding together, trusting him because he'd walked their roads. If he broke here, they'd lose more than a counselor. They'd lose proof that survival was possible. Derek shoved him toward the cruiser, hand rough on his shoulder. Marcus moved without resistance, eyes forward, mind calculating. This wasn't over. This was reconnaissance. Gathering intelligence, waiting for the right moment. The silver star on his military ID wasn't decoration. It was reminder. He'd earned it by staying conscious through pain, keeping his unit alive when dying felt easier. Tonight was just another kind of combat. Different rules, same requirement. Survive first, win later. Derek radioed dispatch, voice smug with false achievement. Marcus listened, memorizing details. Badge number, time, location. Everything would matter when the smoke cleared. The camera across the street blinked red. Marcus noticed it now, positioned to catch the entire scene. His lawyer mind activated. Chain of evidence. Witness testimony. Probable cause. The rookie had just made dozens of procedural errors, each one documented by an impartial electronic eye. Marcus stayed silent in the back seat. But behind his calm expression, strategy was forming. This cop wanted a war. Marcus had fought real ones, and he always brought his brothers home. Afghanistan. 2012. The memory hit Marcus like shrapnel whenever handcuffs touched his skin. The convoy had been rolling through Kandahar province at dawn, 7 vehicles carrying supplies and hope to a forward operating base. Marcus rode in the 3rd truck, 19 years old but already hardened by 2 deployments. The IED detonated under the lead vehicle, with physics that turned metal into shrapnel and soldiers into casualties. The blast wave hit Marcus's truck like God's fist. His hearing vanished into high-pitched whine. Blood ran from somewhere he couldn't identify, but training overrode shock. Marcus kicked open the jammed door, stumbled into smoke and screaming. The lead vehicle was burning. 3 soldiers trapped inside, 2 more on the ground, bleeding arterial red into Afghan dust. Sergeant Phillips was unconscious, femoral artery severed. Marcus applied the tourniquet with hands that shook but didn't stop. Tightened it until the bleeding slowed to survivable. Moved to Corporal Davies, sucking chest wound, collapsing lung. Enemy fire started while Marcus worked. Rounds snapping overhead, kicking up dirt. He didn't stop. Couldn't. These were his brothers. You don't leave brothers behind. He dragged Phillips to cover. Went back for Davies. Took fire doing it. Round grazed his shoulder, another his leg. The pain registered somewhere distant. Not important. Not yet. Called for medevac on a radio slick with his own blood. Directed incoming fire support, while applying pressure to Davies's wound. Stayed conscious through blood loss and adrenaline crash, because unconscious meant his brothers died. The medevac arrived. Everyone lived. Marcus collapsed only after the last soldier was loaded. Silver Star citation arrived 6 months later, for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity, for keeping his head when chaos demanded surrender, for choosing brothers over safety. Marcus came home different. The nights were combat zones now. Sounds became threats. Crowds felt like ambushes. He isolated, drank too much, pushed away everyone who tried to help. His mother wouldn't let him quit. Former Army nurse herself, she recognized battlefield trauma wearing civilian clothes, got him to the VA, forced him into therapy, held him together when falling apart felt easier. 2 years of therapy, 1 year of school, then another. Built himself back into someone recognizable. His daughter was born during his healing. Naomi's mother left when the PTSD got bad, but Naomi stayed his anchor. Proof that survival had purpose beyond mere breathing. He became a counselor because he understood the wars that followed soldiers home. Earned trust by sharing scars, by proving broken didn't mean finished. 13 years of rebuilding, degree, career, reputation, fatherhood, all the things that made a life worth defending. And tonight, one rookie cop with a planted baggie tried to erase it all, but Marcus hadn't survived Afghanistan by accepting defeat. He'd survived by staying conscious, by thinking clearly through pain, by trusting that documentation and truth eventually mattered, that security camera might be his medevac. And if Derek thought planting evidence was combat, he'd never faced someone trained for real war. Marcus sat silent in the cruiser. But behind his calm, he was already fighting back. Derek pulled into the precinct garage, adrenaline still humming through his veins. His first real bust involving actual drugs. Well, drugs he'd provided, but who checked those details? Stats were stats. He yanked Marcus from the back seat, professional aggression. Jake followed behind, face carefully neutral, stomach churning. Inside, fluorescent lights bleached everything clinical. The booking desk sergeant barely looked up. Another arrest. Another black man in handcuffs, another Tuesday night. Derek began the paperwork, narrative already polished in his mind. Subject acting suspicious. Probable cause established through odor detection. Contraband discovered during legal search. Suspect's military service irrelevant to criminal activity. He typed quickly, confident. His uncle would review the report, smooth any rough edges, ensure the story held. That's how the system worked. Badge protected badge. Jake stood at the coffee station, hands shaking slightly. This was the third time. 3 planted busts, 3 clean records destroyed. His silence made him complicit, and the knowledge sat in his stomach like poison. Marcus remained quiet during booking, fingerprints, mugshot, property inventory. He answered questions minimally, offered no resistance, gave them nothing to escalate. But his mind was cataloguing everything. Times, procedures, who witnessed what. The security camera location burned in his memory like coordinates on a map. Derek processed the evidence bag theatrically, showing Jake the contraband. Clean bust. Textbook probable cause. Jake said nothing. His cowardice tasted like ash. Marcus spoke for the first time since arrest. "I want to make my phone call," Derek smirked. "In a minute. Gotta finish paperwork first. I'm entitled to immediate access to legal counsel." Marcus's voice was measured, precise, combat calm. "You're violating my constitutional rights." The words landed differently than Derek expected. Not pleading. Not angry. Procedural. Like someone who knew exactly which regulations were being broken. Derek's confidence flickered. "You a lawyer now?" "I know my rights." Marcus met his eyes. "And I know that security camera at Fletcher and Oak recorded everything." The color drained from Derek's face. Fletcher and Oak, the exact intersection. How did he... Derek recovered quickly. "Camera means nothing. Shows a legal search and a legal arrest. Shows you planting evidence in my jacket." Marcus's voice didn't rise. "Didn't need to. Shows me stating clearly that I don't consent to the search. Shows my military ID falling out before you decided to proceed anyway." Jake's coffee cup stopped halfway to his mouth. "Oh God. There was a camera," Derek forced a laugh. "You're confused. Stress of arrest, it happens. Crystal clear footage." Marcus leaned forward slightly. High definition. Time-stamped. Showing a police officer committing felony evidence tampering. The booking room went quiet. Other officers glanced over, sensing shift in atmosphere. Derek's radio crackled. He stepped away to answer it, mind racing. The camera. Fletcher and Oak, he knew that building. Private security system. Could be accessed, deleted, handled. His uncle would know what to do. Uncle always knew. Marcus was led to holding, still handcuffed, still silent. But the small smile on his face told Jake everything. The veteran had battlefield intelligence, had identified the strategic asset, had spoken it into official record. Jake dumped his coffee down the sink. His hands were still shaking. This time, though, it wasn't just cowardice making them shake. It was the first tremor of conscience preparing to speak. The holding cell smelled like disinfectant and desperation. Marcus sat on the metal bench, back straight, breathing controlled. His military training treated this like any other hostile environment. Assess, adapt, survive. Dawn light filtered through the high window. 6 hours in custody. His phone call had gone to a public defender's voicemail. Standard procedure for overnight arrests. Help would come eventually. The question was what condition his case would be in when it arrived. Derek sat in the break room, phone pressed to his ear. His uncle's voice was calm, practiced. The Fletcher building camera? He knows about it. Derek's voice carried an edge of panic. Mentioned it during booking. I'll handle it. Deputy Chief Kane spoke like problems were solved through connections, not evidence. The building owner owes me a favor. Camera malfunction. Happens all the time. Derek exhaled relief. What about his military background? Irrelevant. Veterans commit crimes too. Stick to your narrative. You smelled marijuana. Conducted a legal search. Found contraband. Simple. Derek hung up, confidence rebuilding. The system protected its own. Always had. Some decorated veteran wasn't changing that. Jake watched from across the room. He'd overheard enough. The camera footage was about to disappear. Another cover-up. Another lie stacked on lies. His phone was in his pocket. The anonymous tip line was one Google search away. But his pension was 22 years away. His daughter's college fund half-filled. His wife depending on his paycheck. Jake poured another coffee he wouldn't drink. Cowardice was a muscle he'd exercised into strength. At 8 a.m., a public defender arrived. Maria Santos, 38, overworked and underfunded. She'd handled 600 cases last year. Knew the system well enough to recognize futility. Marcus sat across from her in the interview room. She reviewed his file, eyebrows rising at his military record. Silver Star recipient. Maria's voice carried surprise. VA counselor. Clean record. And they're charging you with possession? Officer planted it. Marcus spoke clearly, no emotion clouding facts. I have proof. Security camera at Fletcher and Oak recorded everything. Maria wrote the address down. I'll subpoena the footage immediately. They'll delete it. Marcus met her eyes. The arresting officer's uncle is Deputy Chief of Internal Affairs. They're already making calls. Maria's pen stopped. She'd heard this story before. Different names, same corruption. Usually ended the same way. Cops' word against defendants, system siding with the badge. But something in Marcus's calm certainty made her hesitate. This wasn't defeated speculation. This was strategic intelligence. I'll go to the building now, she said, before they can tamper with it. Marcus nodded. Thank you. She left quickly, hope and skepticism warring in her chest. In the break room, Derek accepted congratulations from other officers. His sergeant clapped his shoulder. Good bust, Kane. Keep this up. You'll make detective by year-end. Derek grinned. The system was working exactly as designed. Behind him, Jake stared at his phone. The anonymous tip line glowed on his screen. His finger hovered over the call button, then moved away, then hovered again. Some choices defined entire lives. Jake wasn't ready to define his. Not yet. Maria Santos returned at 11 a.m. Her expression told Marcus everything before she spoke. The footage is gone. She sat down heavily. Building owner claims the system experienced a malfunction last night. Hard drive corrupted. Nothing recoverable. Marcus's jaw tightened, but his voice stayed level. Convenient timing? Extremely. Maria's anger was quiet, professional. I pushed back. Mentioned criminal obstruction charges. He suddenly remembered that Deputy Chief Kane had called him this morning. Asked about his security system's reliability. Purely routine, he was told. The air in the interview room felt compressed. Marcus's hands rested flat on the table, stillness requiring more control than movement. So it's my word against the officers. Statement, not question. Yes. Maria wouldn't lie to him. And in those cases, juries side with police 93% of the time. Even with your military record, Even with your spotless background, the badge carries weight. Marcus nodded slowly. 13 years of rebuilding, erased by one corrupt rookie and a conveniently malfunctioning camera. His daughter's face filled his mind. Naomi waiting for him to come home, trusting that truth mattered, that systems worked, that her father's integrity meant something. What are my options? Marcus's voice was steady, but Maria heard the fracture underneath. Take a plea, possession charge reduced to misdemeanor. Probation, community service, no jail time. You keep your job, your reputation takes a hit but survives. Except I'm not guilty, I know. Maria's eyes held genuine sympathy. But proving it without the footage? Marcus, I've been doing this 12 years. I've seen innocent people go to trial and lose. The system isn't designed for justice. It's designed for efficiency. Marcus stood pacing the small room. Every instinct screamed to fight. But fighting meant risking everything. A trial could end in conviction. Real jail time. Losing Naomi. Losing his clients who depended on him. The VA counselor in him recognized the trap. PTSD had tried to kill him with invisible weapons. Now the system was trying the same thing. Death by procedure, suffocation by bureaucracy. I need to make bail. Marcus stopped pacing. I need to think. Maria nodded. I'll arrange it. But Marcus, whatever you decide, decide quickly. The longer this drags out, the harder it gets. 6 hours later, Marcus walked out of the precinct. His car had been impounded, so he took a bus home. Watched the city roll past through scratched windows. Saw his reflection. Decorated veteran, dedicated counselor, devoted father, wearing the ghost of handcuffs. His apartment felt different, smaller, contaminated by doubt. His daughter's photo sat on the bookshelf, her smile bright and trusting. His Silver Star citation hung on the wall, framed reminder of who he'd been, who he still was if he didn't surrender. His phone rang. Work. He let it go to voicemail. Knew what it would say. Administrative leave pending investigation. Standard procedure for arrested employees. Guilty until proven innocent, despite what the Constitution claimed. Text messages piled up. Clients asking if he was okay. Colleagues offering carefully worded support that felt like goodbye. His mother's text was simpler. Call me. I love you. Marcus sat in darkness as evening fell. The rage had burned down to something colder. Strategic. He'd earned his Silver Star by refusing to surrender when surrender was logical. By staying conscious through pain. By trusting that documentation mattered, that truth had weight, that witness testimony could shift odds. The camera footage was gone, but cameras had backups. Systems had redundancies, and teenagers who installed security systems for their parents sometimes understood technology better than deputy chiefs who ordered deletions. Marcus opened his laptop. Started researching. Fletcher and Oak Building. Owner's name. Business licenses. Family connections. He was a counselor, not an investigator, but he was also a soldier who understood reconnaissance. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Text message. The camera saved to cloud backup. I can help. Marcus stared at the screen. His heart, steady through arrest and processing and defeat, finally stumbled. Hope was dangerous. Hope got soldiers killed, but hope also kept them fighting when survival seemed impossible. He typed back, "Who is this?" The response came immediately. Someone who's tired of watching cops get away with it. Meet me tomorrow. Come alone. Marcus's hands shook slightly. This could be a trap. Could be internal affairs setting him up. Could be anything. But it could also be the medevac he'd been waiting for. He typed, "Where and when?" The answer glowed on his screen like coordinates to extract. Parking garage. 4th level. Noon. Trust me. Marcus looked at his daughter's photo, at his Silver Star, at the life he'd built from wreckage. Then he typed, "I'll be there." Outside, Derek Kane celebrated at a bar with fellow officers. Drinks on his uncle. Career on trajectory. Problem solved. He had no idea the battle was just beginning. The suspension letter arrived by email at 6 a.m., standard administrative language. Pending investigation. No admission of wrongdoing implied, but the absence was mandatory. Marcus read it once, then deleted it. The words didn't change reality. He was radioactive now. Association meant risk. His phone stayed silent all morning. The VA clients he'd counseled through addiction, PTSD, homelessness, they'd vanished. Not their fault. They were barely surviving themselves. Couldn't afford to be connected to scandal. Marcus made coffee he didn't drink. Checked the clock obsessively. 11:30. The parking garage meeting in 30 minutes. The anonymous texter who might be salvation or setup. His neighbor Mrs. Chen had stopped making eye contact in the hallway yesterday. The crossing guard at Naomi's school had asked pointed questions about trouble with the law. The pharmacy technician had processed his prescription with cold efficiency instead of usual warmth. Guilt was viral, spread through communities faster than truth could chase it. Marcus stood at his window, watching the city wake. 13 years ago he'd stood in a similar kind of darkness. PTSD had isolated him then, made him a stranger in his own skin. He'd clawed back from that edge through therapy, discipline, purpose. This felt worse. PTSD was an enemy he could name, understand, strategize against. This was bureaucratic suffocation, systems designed to protect the badge, not the truth. His Silver Star citation sat in his hands now. He'd earned it by refusing to let brothers die, by staying conscious through blood loss, by believing that survival had meaning beyond mere breathing. The medal felt lighter than memory, cheaper, like the system that awarded it had fine print he'd never read. Courage honored unless inconvenient. Service valued until it questions authority. His daughter's photo caught morning light. Naomi, 13, standing in front of her science fair project. First place. She'd texted him last night after he'd made bail. Dad, everyone at school is asking questions. I told them you're innocent. You are, right? The doubt in her question, tiny, barely there but present, cut deeper than handcuffs. Marcus had typed back, I am, baby. I promise. This will be fixed. She'd responded with a heart emoji, but she hadn't called. The silence in his apartment was complete. No clients calling for help. No colleagues checking in. No mother's voice offering wisdom. Just Marcus and the ghost of who he'd been before one rookie cop decided his life was disposable. He thought about taking the plea deal. Maria Santos had made it sound almost reasonable. Misdemeanor, probation, move forward. Survival over principle. But survival without integrity was just breathing. Marcus hadn't fought through Afghanistan and PTSD just to surrender to injustice wearing a badge. His phone buzzed. The anonymous number, 30 minutes. Don't be late. Marcus pocketed his phone, put on his jacket. The same jacket Derek had planted evidence in. He'd washed it twice, but still felt contaminated. As he left his apartment, he passed his Silver Star one more time. Earned for conspicuous gallantry, for keeping brothers alive, for refusing to surrender. Today required the same courage. Different battlefield. Same choice, quit or fight. Marcus locked his door and headed toward the parking garage, toward hope or trap, toward the unknown witness who might restore what corruption had tried to erase. The morning air tasted like possibility and danger. He breathed it in deeply, then went to war one more time. The parking garage smelled like concrete and motor oil. Marcus took the stairs to the 4th level, avoiding cameras, habits from military training resurfacing instinctively. The level was nearly empty. One Honda Civic parked in the far corner. A teenager sat on the hood, laptop open, wearing a hoodie despite the morning warmth. Marcus approached slowly, hands visible, non-threatening. The kid looked up. Maybe 17, black, scared but determined. You Marcus Webb? The teenager's voice cracked slightly. I am. And you are? Cameron Price. My dad owns the Fletcher building. Cameron's fingers drummed nervously on the laptop. The one with the security camera. Marcus's heartbeat accelerated. Your father deleted the footage. My father got pressured by some deputy chief. Cameron's jaw tightened. Said it was civic duty. Protecting officers who protect us. All that bullshit. But the footage still exists. Not a question. Hope edged with caution. Cameron nodded, opening the laptop. I set up Dad's system 2 years ago. He doesn't understand cloud backups. Thinks deleting local storage means deleting everything. A bitter smile. Boomers, man. The laptop screen glowed to life. Cameron's fingers flew across keys, navigating folders. I watched what happened. Saw everything. That cop planted drugs on you. Saw your military ID full. Saw you state clearly you didn't consent. Marcus moved closer, breath held. The video file loaded. Timestamp 12:47 a.m. Location Fletcher and Oak Cameron. Hit play. There was Marcus's Lexus, Derek approaching. The entire traffic stop unfolded in high-definition clarity. Every movement, every word, the planted baggie visible in slow motion. Marcus watched himself get framed with crystalline documentation. Watched Derek lie with casual confidence. Watched justice get murdered in real time. Why are you helping me? Marcus's voice was rough with emotion. Cameron stopped the video. My cousin Jamal got beaten by cops last year. No reason, no provocation, just walking home. They said he was resisting arrest. He was 16. Cameron's eyes were wet but angry. No cameras, no proof. Their word against his. System sided with the badge. The silence between them held shared understanding. Different stories, same corruption. Jamal still can't sleep without nightmares, Cameron continued. Won't go out after dark. Dropped out of school. The cops who beat him got promoted. He looked at Marcus directly. I can't help Jamal, but I can help you. Marcus felt something crack in his chest. Not breaking, opening. This teenager was risking everything. His father's business, his safety, his future, to give a stranger justice. This footage could end your father's relationship with the department, Marcus said quietly. Could bring trouble to your family. My father chose to delete evidence of a crime. Cameron's voice steadied. That was his choice. This is mine, Marcus extended his hand. Cameron shook it. The teenager's grip was firm despite the tremor. I need to get this to my lawyer, Marcus said. Chain of custody matters. Documentation protocol. Already handled. Cameron pulled a USB drive from his pocket. Original file. Metadata intact. Time-stamped. Cloud backup link included with password protection. He handed it over. I also documented my father's phone call with the deputy chief. Recorded it. That's obstruction of justice, right? Marcus stared at the drive in his palm. Evidence, truth, weapons for the battlefield he'd been drafted into. You could have stayed silent, Marcus said. It would have been safer. Cameron closed his laptop. My cousin stayed silent. Where did that get him? He met Marcus's eyes. Sometimes you gotta fight back, even when it's scary. Marcus thought of his daughter, of his clients, of every veteran he'd counseled who'd lost faith in systems designed to protect them. This teenager was teaching him what he'd somehow forgotten. Courage didn't require rank or badges. Just required choosing right over easy. Thank you, Cameron. The words felt insufficient for the gift being given. Thank that cop for being stupid enough to do it on camera. Cameron slid off the hood. Now go make him pay for it. Marcus left the garage with the USB drive burning in his pocket like ammunition, like hope. Like proof that one person's courage could shift entire systems. He called Maria Santos before he reached street level. I have the footage. All of it. Undeleted cloud backup. The lawyer's gasp was audible. How? Long story. When can we meet? Now immediately, my office. Marcus caught a cab. Watched the city roll past with different eyes. He'd been in isolation, defeated, ready to take the plea. Now he was armed with truth. The war wasn't over. But the odds had just shifted. And Marcus had learned in Afghanistan that battles turned on single moments of unexpected courage. Today, a teenager with a laptop had provided that moment. Tomorrow, Marcus would turn it into justice. Derek Kane had no idea his career was already over. He just didn't know it yet. The hearing room was designed for bureaucratic theater. Fluorescent lights, cheap wood paneling, the seal of the police department watching from the wall like a warning. Derek sat at the defendant's table, confident, bordering on smug. His uncle sat beside him, expensive suit radiating power. Internal affairs had already cleared Derek twice before. This was formality, performance, outcome predetermined. Marcus sat across the aisle with Maria Santos. The USB drive was logged into evidence. The video file had been reviewed by the judge privately. Now came public screening. The room was packed. Local news had caught wind. Decorated veteran versus rookie cop. The optics were volatile enough to demand witnesses. Jake sat in the back row, invisible and ashamed. He'd been subpoenaed to testify. His pension suddenly felt like blood money. Judge Rachel Morrison called the hearing to order. 60-year-old black woman, 3 decades on the bench. She'd seen every variation of corruption. Her face revealed nothing. This is a preliminary hearing to determine if criminal charges should be filed against Officer Derek Kane, Judge Morrison stated. Ms. Santos, you've submitted evidence? Maria stood. Yes, Your Honor. Security footage from the night of Mr. Webb's arrest. I'd like to enter it into the record and screen it for the court. Derek's lawyer objected immediately. Your Honor, chain of custody is broken. This footage was allegedly deleted, then magically reappeared. Its integrity is compromised. The footage was never deleted from cloud backup, Maria countered. The building owner's son will testify that automatic cloud saves preserved the original file. Metadata confirms no tampering. Judge Morrison studied the documentation. Objection overruled. I'll allow the screening. The lights dimmed. The screen flickered to life. Timestamp glowed in the corner. 12:47 a.m. The courtroom watched in silence. Marcus's Lexus, Derek approaching. The traffic stop unfolding with damning clarity. Derek's voice came through. I smell marijuana. Clearly audible. Clearly false. The camera captured everything. Derek's hand moving to his pocket. The baggie palmed. The plant executed with practiced efficiency. Marcus's jacket. The evidence tucked inside. Then Marcus reaching for his wallet. The military ID falling. Derek freezing for just a moment. Marcus's voice calm and clear. I do not consent to this search. I am being detained unlawfully. The arrest. The handcuffs. Derek's smirk. The video ended. Lights came up. The courtroom was silent. No one breathed. Derek's face had drained to corpse white. His uncle sat rigid, jaw clenched. Judge Morrison's expression remained neutral, but her eyes held fury. Officer Kane, did you plant evidence on Mr. Webb? Derek stammered. The video doesn't show. It shows exactly what it shows. Judge Morrison's voice was granite. You palmed an object from your pocket, inserted it into the defendant's property, then claimed to discover it. Your Honor, there could be context. Derek's lawyer was flailing. What context justifies planting evidence? The judge leaned forward. What context makes this acceptable? Silence. No answer existed. Maria Santos stood. Your Honor, I'd also like to submit phone records showing Deputy Chief Raymond Kane contacted the building owner approximately 1 hour after Mr. Webb mentioned the camera during booking. The owner will testify he was pressured to delete the footage. Deputy Chief Kane exploded. This is a setup. That footage could have been doctored. Bailiff, remove the deputy chief if he interrupts again. Judge Morrison's voice cut like blade. Metadata analysis confirms no tampering. 3 independent experts reviewed the file. It's authentic. She turned to Derek. Officer Kane, you're under arrest for evidence tampering, filing false reports, unlawful detention and violation of civil rights. Badge and weapon, now. Derek's hands shook as he removed his badge, placed it on the table. The room watched his career disintegrate in real time. Officer Jake Martinez. Judge Morrison's gaze found him in the back row. You were present during this arrest? Jake stood, legs weak. Yes, Your Honor. Did you witness Officer Kane plant evidence? The question hung like judgment. Jake's pension, his family, his cowardice, all balanced against truth. I did. The words tasted like ash and relief. I witnessed it. And I've witnessed him do it twice before. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Derek's uncle put his head in his hands. Derek simply stared at Jake, betrayed and destroyed. Names, Judge Morrison demanded. Cases, dates, Jake provided them. Each name another nail. Each case another crime exposed. The courtroom erupted. Judge Morrison's gavel cracked like thunder. Order, this hearing is concluded. Officer Kane will be remanded to custody pending trial. Deputy Chief Kane, you're under investigation for obstruction of justice. I'm recommending a federal review of your entire department. She turned to Marcus. Her expression softened fractionally. Mr. Webb, all charges against you are dismissed. I apologize on behalf of a system that failed you. You deserve better. Marcus stood, eyes wet but voice steady. Thank you, Your Honor. Derek was led away in handcuffs. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. His confident smirk had vanished, replaced by the realization that truth, when properly documented, carried more weight than badges. Outside the courthouse, news cameras swarmed. Marcus stood at the microphone, Maria beside him. Justice delayed isn't justice denied, Marcus said quietly. Not when people have the courage to speak truth. Today, a teenager with a laptop and a conscience reminded me what integrity looks like. Today, a fellow officer chose truth over loyalty. Today, the system worked, not because it's designed to, but because people made it. He looked directly into the cameras. Truth doesn't delete, it waits. And when it surfaces, it changes everything. The cameras captured his face. Decorated veteran, falsely accused, finally vindicated. The image would go viral within hours. Inside the courthouse, Jake sat alone, crying quietly. He'd saved his soul but destroyed his career. The pension was gone. The brotherhood, too. But his reflection in the courthouse window looked like someone he could finally recognize. The VA center welcomed Marcus back with careful warmth. His supervisor apologized, though policy had mandated the suspension. His clients returned slowly, testing whether trust had survived contamination. Marcus resumed counseling sessions, but something had shifted. He understood his clients differently now. The veterans who'd been failed by systems, who'd done everything right and been punished anyway, who'd learned that following rules didn't guarantee justice. He'd walked their road, earned credibility through shared trauma. Naomi visited that weekend, Saturday morning, bright and warm. They sat in his apartment eating pancakes, not speaking about the arrest until she was ready. I knew you didn't do it, she said finally, syrup on her chin. But everyone at school acted like you did. Made me doubt what I knew was true. Marcus set down his fork. That's how injustice works, baby. Makes you doubt what's real. Makes you question your own eyes. How did you stay strong? He thought about that. I remembered who I am, not who someone's lie tried to make me. And I trusted that truth would surface if I stayed conscious long enough. Naomi nodded, processing. Like in Afghanistan, staying conscious even when it hurt. Exactly like that. He reached across to wipe syrup from her chin. Different battlefield. Same principle. His phone buzzed. Text from Cameron Price. Saw the news. Glad it worked. If you ever need a security system installed, I know a guy. Marcus smiled, typed back. Thanks to you, I believe in systems again. Some of them anyway. Derek Kane pled guilty to all charges. Faced 3 years minimum. His uncle resigned before the federal investigation concluded. Pension forfeited. Reputation destroyed. Jake Martinez testified in 3 additional cases, securing exonerations. He left law enforcement. Started working with a non-profit fighting wrongful convictions. Marcus framed Cameron's USB drive, hung it beside his silver star. 2 different kinds of courage. 2 different kinds of proof that truth mattered. His mother visited the next week, bringing food and wisdom. They sat together in comfortable silence, the kind only family understood. "You could have taken the plea," she said eventually. "Would have been easier." Easier isn't always right. Marcus looked at his medals, his daughter's photo, the USB drive. "So you taught me that, when you made me get help for PTSD instead of letting me self-destruct." She squeezed his hand. "I'm proud of you. Your father would be too." The words settled around them like benediction. His father had died in service, never met Naomi, never saw Marcus earn his silver star. But his legacy lived in the choices Marcus made: fight for brothers, stand for truth, refuse to surrender. That evening, Marcus stood at his window watching sunset paint the city gold. He thought about Derek sitting in a cell, finally understanding that badges weren't shields against consequences. Thought about Cameron, still in high school, already more courageous than most adults. Thought about Jake, rebuilding integrity from wreckage. His phone rang. New client referral from another counselor. Veteran, recently exonerated after false arrest, struggling with PTSD from incarceration. Needed someone who understood. Marcus scheduled the appointment. He understood perfectly now. Had earned the knowledge through experience, not theory. The system hadn't protected him. People had Cameron, Jake, Maria, the judge. Individuals choosing courage over convenience. That was how change happened. Not through institutions designed to perpetuate themselves. Through humans deciding truth mattered more than comfort. Marcus's reflection in the window looked tired but whole. Tested but unbroken. He'd survived another war, brought himself home again. His silver star caught the last light of day, reminder of who he'd always been. Who he'd remain, a man who stayed conscious through pain, who fought for brothers, who trusted that documentation, and truth eventually mattered. The city below hummed with evening noise. Marcus breathed it in, grateful to still be here, still be fighting, still be teaching others how to survive systems designed to break them. Tomorrow he'd return to work. Help veterans navigate the bureaucracy that failed them. Stand as proof that falsely accused didn't mean forever guilty. Tonight he'd rest, finally. The kind of sleep earned through battle survived. The war was over. For now. Until the next one required the same courage, the same truth, the same refusal to surrender. Marcus was ready. He always had been. Just took one corrupt cop and one honest teenager to remind him. 3 months after the trial, Marcus stood outside the courthouse at sunset. Golden light carved shadows across concrete, painted the world in temporary grace. He'd returned for Jake's sentencing hearing. Not for Derek's trial. That justice was procedural, inevitable. But Jake had chosen conscience over career. That deserved witness. The judge had given Jake probation, community service, credit for cooperation. His testimony had freed 3 innocent people, exposed systemic corruption, triggered federal oversight. Redemption earned through truth, not rhetoric. Jake emerged from the courthouse looking smaller without his uniform. He spotted Marcus, hesitated, then approached. "Thank you for coming," Jake said quietly. "Thank you for speaking." Marcus extended his hand. Jake shook it, grip firm despite shame. "Takes more courage to betray a corrupt brotherhood than stay loyal to it. Doesn't feel like courage. Feels like cowardice finally ending. That's what courage is. Ending the thing that makes you complicit." Marcus looked at the courthouse behind them. "So you'll carry that choice forever. Make sure it defines you moving forward, not just what you confessed." Jake nodded, eyes wet. "I'm working with the Innocence Project now, trying to fix what I helped break." "Good." Marcus clasped his shoulder. "Keep fixing it." They parted ways. Jake toward redemption still being earned. Marcus toward a life reclaimed. The city pulsed around him, indifferent and enormous. Thousands of stories unfolding simultaneously. Some involved truth-winning. Most involved compromise survival. Quiet surrenders to systems too big to fight. But Marcus had learned something Afghanistan taught, and Derek confirmed. Systems only seemed immovable until individuals decided movement mattered. Cameron with his laptop, Jake with his testimony, Maria with her relentless advocacy, each person a small force against institutional gravity. Together, they'd bent reality toward justice. Marcus walked toward the parking garage where Cameron had handed him truth on a USB drive. The teenager was starting college soon. Computer science. Already had job offers from firms impressed by his technical skills and moral courage. A text from Naomi appeared. Finished my homework. Movie tonight? Marcus smiled. Your choice. I'll bring popcorn. Life rebuilt itself in small rituals. Homework and movies and moments that proved survival had texture beyond mere breathing. The sunset deepened to crimson, then purple, then the blue-black of evening. Marcus stood watching it, remembering Afghanistan sunsets that looked similar before darkness made everything dangerous, but this darkness felt different, known, navigable. He'd walked through worse and emerged intact. His phone buzzed again. Unknown number. For a moment panic flickered. Another setup, another trap. Then he read the message. Mr. Webb, my name is David Torres. I was arrested by Officer Kane 2 years ago. Lost my job, my family. Been trying to clear my name ever since. I saw the news. Can you help? Marcus stood perfectly still. The message glowed in the darkness like a new mission activating. Another veteran. Another false arrest. Another life destroyed by the same corruption. He could ignore it. Had earned the right to protect his peace. No one would blame him for choosing safety over another battle. But that wasn't who Marcus Webb had ever been. Not in Afghanistan. Not at the VA. Not when Derek Kane planted evidence and tried to erase him. He typed back, I can help. Let's talk tomorrow. The city lights blinked on, illuminating millions of stories still unfolding. Marcus pocketed his phone. Started walking home. The weight of David Torres's message sat heavy but purposeful. Some battles you chose. Others chose you. The only question was whether you had courage to fight when fighting cost everything. Marcus had answered that question in Afghanistan. Answered it again with Derek. Would answer it tomorrow with David. Because truth didn't delete, it waited. And when it surfaced, it changed everything. He walked into the evening, no longer the man who'd been handcuffed on a dark street. Someone different now, tested, validated, armed with proof that one person's courage could shift systems designed to crush them. The camera had blinked red that night. Truth had been recorded. Justice had followed eventually. Marcus would remember that. Would teach it to every veteran who thought the system had permanently broken them. You can't erase truth, he'd say. It always finds a witness. Sometimes that witness is a camera. Sometimes it's a conscience. Sometimes it's a teenager with a laptop who refuses to stay silent. And sometimes, he'd conclude, the witness is you, standing up when standing costs everything. Speaking truth when silence feels safer. Staying conscious through pain until help arrives. That's not just courage. That's survival with integrity intact. The night embraced him. Marcus Webb walked home. Ready for tomorrow. Ready for David Torres. Ready for whatever battlefield required the lessons he'd learned. Truth was his weapon now. And he'd just proven it could win.